Hello everyone, this is Remleiz from 40k Theories, and welcome to this newest episode of Adeptus Podcastus. Joining me as always is Michael from Tactica Imperialis.
Hello everyone.
And joining us once again as our guest this week, the voice of Leman Russ himself and an expert in the Uwu dialect, ZoranTheBear.
Go fuck yourself, Remleiz.
And demonetized.
I'm glad that that's the first impression people will get is going like, wow, this guy sounds really angry. It's like, you think reading all those anime garbage that he'd be a happier person, but he's just suffering deep inside.
I would like to point out that the last time that you did that wasn't actually my fault, it was Rude's fault.
Yeah, mostly, yeah. She offered things, and then I was like, I also want those things. And then you both kind of just hammered onto it, going like, just like, so if you read all these anime things, we'll give you all these amazing things. They're like, well, I am desperate and I have no money, so I will go to the studio and waste my life away.
Oh dear.
So when do we get to have you read Leman Russ?
I think we already put that as an incentive on Twitter, to where I'm not going to degrade myself and have my brain rot out any further. So I would rather, get something out of this at this point, because I am a selfish bastard and bills suck.
Understandably.
Fair.
So, in the news this week, we've got quite a bit, actually.
A lot and not a lot in some ways.
Lots of little things, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think there's not any like major announcements at this point. It's some stuff that I think we've kind of already knew for a while. And
yeah, because LVO came in sort of the last episode's cycle, and that was where all the big info dumps were. A lot of this stuff now is sort of filling that in. So we got a little bit more Lumineth Realm Lords, the release of Psychic Awakening 5, which I have in my hand. We're recording this on the Saturday rather than the Friday, which is quite nice because for once I actually have the book in my hand, so I can discuss the lore, and we can, well, I'm not good enough to discuss the rules, but I can have a laugh about it because there's some hilarious combinations in here, which I can't wait to try.
I have a quick question about that, actually. In terms of like content for someone, because I assume you're still playing 40k tabletop and stuff, right?
When I get time, I went to have a game this week, but there was no table. So I haven't actually played in 3 months, but I do try.
Oh, yeah, I believe that. Don't worry. That, for what you've been reading through, in terms of like rules content, I know there's probably a good bit of lore in there, kind of advancing stuff. In terms of rule content, have you actually been enjoying it so far? Do you look at it going like, wow, this is actually going to be something useful to me as a player? Well,
the essential thing is when Space Marines got their second 8th edition codex back in September-ish, it kind of broke the game completely. Space Marines 2.0 Codex was insane, and it was the case that I think 70% of a top 10 was going to be Space Marines, and 50% of that top 10 was Iron Hands in particular. GW put out Space Marines and updated them in a really cool way with custom chapter tactics and new units and new rules, and it was brilliant, but it broke the game completely. And they've spent the last almost 6 months to a year basically cleaning up the mess. And Psychic Awakening has given every army that it's covered what I like to call a 2.0 codex within it. So, for example, in here, the Tau have gained a giant pile of new stratagems, a giant pile of new relics, a new data sheet for their top hero, with Commander Shadowstone getting a new model. They've got the custom set tenets. They've also gained a huge amount of stuff for the Farsa Enclaves. The 8 are actually exactly the same, but the Enclaves have gained a new set tenet, a bunch of the unique stratagems, unique relics, unique traits, unique tactical objectives. So it's essentially given the Tau a update for the new edition to catch them up a little bit to Space Marines. They didn't need that much because Tau are arguably one of the best armies already, but the Astra Militarum have got an update in here with tank aces. The Genestealer cults have had a major update, I think. I haven't actually looked that hard at the Genestealer cults, but like they've had their rules sort of put back together from all the FAQs, new stratagems, new psychic powers. Not a lot for Genestealer cults, but essentially it's given every army a update to keep up with Space Marines. Has it worked? Arguably. Has it worked perfectly? No, but it's certainly caught a lot of armies up. So as a rules exercise, it's done a brilliant job. As a lore exercise, it's kind of been a waste of time.
Yeah, because basically nothing really new. I know that I'm still messing with Space Wolves or whatever and still crying that I got this book that was broken. And is there anything in there for like a Space Wolves player?
They're next.
No, I want my books now.
So book 6, which is going to be the March release for Psychic Awakening, is Saga of the Beast. In essence, it is super buff Gazkul and the Orcs against the Space Wolves.
Yeah, which would make an excellent segue thing, because I think they did an update on that recently, I think.
There was a little article about the Psychic Awakening, yes, just sort of filling people in on what had happened, because unless you bought all the books, and nobody did, because most people treated them like a mini codex, then you wouldn't know everything that's happened. The answer's nothing. Nothing happened. But it's been nice to see that, and they've also shadowed the fact that Gazkul is kind of ascending to beast status now. Not quite the beast, but going in that direction, and the Space Wolves are throwing themselves at him to stop his amassing Great War. We also know that Blackstone, which is this magical mystery substance that made up the Cadian pylons to keep the warp in check, is becoming a major factor, I believe, in Psychic Awakening 7 with the Mechanicus, because Call is obviously after it, and there's a little snippet in here in the Greater Good about how the Necrons want it and the Drukhari want it as well, which we think, well, Rem thinks is to do with Kane's Gate, which had its disjunction in Comorra.
Yeah,
and stuff.
That makes an excellent way to basically get all the armies together. We're like, oh yeah, in this scenario, all these armies exist. Which usually...
And this book focuses on the Tau 5th sphere of expansion, so obviously... but when 8th edition came out, the Tau had their 4th and 5th sphere, which allowed them to jump through a wormhole to go somewhere else. And it's slightly spoilery, but then again, people don't really buy Psychic Awakening for the lore, disappointingly, because there hasn't been much there. But they kind of sort of bump off the major plot thread of the Tau, which was they've gone through the Startide Nexus and they run into the Death Guard. And the Death Guard are besieging their wormhole, their only way home, and it's a desperate fight of their lives. And then in this book, within 2 paragraphs, the war ends. A few Death Guard ships get through, the rest of them just naff off, and the Death Guard ships never come out the other side, so either they died or went somewhere else in the warp entirely. So the Tau just kind of won by default, and now get to crack on and do the rest of the 5th sphere of expansion, where they get proven to, well... No Psychers, so no Tau Psychers have been revealed. All the psychic shenanigans and insanity is revolving around the Gevesa and other auxiliaries, but it shows that they are really suffering in the new era. Their hospital ships, they had to develop hospital ships and they've run out of names. They don't name them anymore because they need to treat so many casualties and jettison the dead. They've run out of space to keep the bodies. It's kind of bad for the Tau. But at the same time, the Imperium are suffering because, of course, they are. The Genestealer cults are getting more Magi, and some people are saying, oh, the Star Children are coming, this is a sign, let's rise up. And other people are saying, this is a sign for the Star Children, we're not getting anywhere near like enough done, rise up. So the same effect, but for a different reason. So it's just sort of contextualizing what's happened to them in the Psychic Awakening era, which, of course, was like 150 years ago, so it kind of can't be any new broken ground, which is disappointing. Sorry, that was fast.
Oh, no. I mean, it gave me enough of a summary. I, unfortunately, am someone who doesn't really get to, like, dive so deep into these books as much as you guys can, so...
You could get that from reading for 5 minutes.
Yeah, I understand that, but it's to the point of... Let's just say the life has basically been a case of, like, oh, cool, new article. All right, I'll get to that later. And then 5 years later, I finally get to it, but then there's, like, 2 more systems out.
Yep, that's very fair in that case.
It's like everyone's lives have been busy. And speaking of you guys have been busy as hell last time I checked up on you. So you guys...
I mean, what's new? Life is just crazy as always.
Yeah, it's like as far as I can tell, like both of your guys' channels are doing well. Podcast is doing great. So at least I want to take a moment and say I'm proud of you guys. You guys have been kicking ass so far.
Oh yeah, I hit 30,000 this time round. I've just hit 30K. I have no time to make the special. I know exactly what I'm doing. I've planned the special. I know what I'm doing, but I need to finalize the research to do it because it's going to be a science video. And it's just like, Time.
I've gotten to the point where
Time
I
is
just
relative,
cancel
but time is
special
against me.
things. I thought it was like, oh, like in the 10K, and the 20K, and the 30K. It's like, oh, maybe I'll do something neat, but I never had time.
Yeah, I definitely have to do something for 40k, and I know what I'm doing for 40k. If and when I get there. That's going to be Abaddon Redux. I'm going to redo Abaddon's lore video because it was one of my first, it was like my 5th or 6th lore video ever was Abaddon, and a lot has happened since then, so I want to redux it.
Yeah, a nice update will help out.
Also, have I hit 100k views on a video yet? I think a couple of my Legions videos are right on the brink of breaking 100k views. And annoyingly, the most popular video in the channel's history is, and I can't believe I'm saying this, it's the bloody Space Wolf video, is my most viewed video of all time with 97k. So I'm just shy of breaking 100k on a video.
Welcome.
It had to be the bloody Space Wolf, didn't it? It had to be the bloody Space Wolf.
It's always like a stark contrast when I basically hear like any Space Wolf stuff. It's either like, oh yeah, I find them pretty cool, or just nothing but offensive jokes about him and everything else. And I remember the first time whenever
I'm a Magnus fan.
I know, right? I know the first time that I started doing Rust or whatever, that I got so many emails and Discord direct messages of people quoting the memes at me nonstop. To where
I feel your pain.
Yeah, it almost killed my love for Warhammer and just how much I got just so tired of hearing it. To where it's just like
that's the one perk to not being in TGS.
It's like I had to take a break for a while because it was a case of like, I am so sick and tired of hearing about anything about Space Wolves, of hearing all the stupid like milksop jokes and all the other stuff that I don't want to super say right now. So it's like, please, for the love of God, I just want to play my 40Ks and not have people across the table making fun of my Space Wolves.
Well, on the plus side, it gives you a chance to start your Astral Bears army.
I know, right? Let's just get rid of the Space Wolves. They got Astral Bears now.
Yes, they're in the White Scars Codex supplement for those wondering. White Scars Successor chapter.
Okay, that's news.
Yeah, so mentioned like one of the first pages of the White Scars Successor supplement is like there's Successor chapters like this, like the Stormhawks and the Astral Bears. It was like, we got Bear chapter.
Yeah, I think Remleiz was like linking it to me, and I'm just like, well, fuck these Space Wolves then. Just delete, just melt my army down in the solid gold, and then just go and commission someone to make the Astral Bears. And I actually tried to look them up once you've showed me the Astral Bears chapter, and I started looking around. So like, is there any color schemes? Was there any information?
No.
But there's nothing. It's just a little excerpt that someone wanted to just throw in there. I don't know what the strategy is for that, because obviously whenever people make these books, they have to schedule a certain amount of pages for certain things, and you have to make room for a lot of pieces of content. So I don't know if it was a point to where it's like, we want to get to this many pages and we needed filler content. What do we add? Or it was a case of, we're putting this in there for some reason in the future.
Yeah, GW have got good at short-term paying it forward in terms of, here's a lore snippet. This will be relevant in 3 months. Pay attention. Long-term payoffs, I think, are becoming a lot less common in terms of, hey, we're going to write about something and we'll come back to it maybe in 5 years when an author's got the time. They're not doing that so much anymore, but they are.
Yeah, because what was the last bit of foreshadowing that actually had a bit of a payoff? It was probably with Iliad, wasn't it?
For 40k, it's probably Iliad, because
they mentioned in 5th edition, and then 7th edition comes where I was like, hey, guess what? Iliad's Awakening. It's like, oh shit.
Yeah, the Silent King they kind of foreshadowed, but also just like told us, because the Silent King naffed off but wasn't dead, and then in 7th edition he was back, and now in 8th edition he's properly back, just not on the tabletop. AOS is quite good at it. So in Wrath of the Everchosen they talk about these elves in Ulgish who wear resplendent white armor and all that stuff, and it's like, that's the Lumineth. And so on and so forth. There's little things in AOS where they pay it forward by a book or two. But I can't remember 40k probably what the best example would be.
Speaking of books, though, segue, next thing, the Black Library Celebration's coming up.
Yes, what's in that?
We got the new next book in the Watchers of the Throne series, Regent Shadow.
And the models associated.
Being released. And some very nice looking custodian dice.
Are they custodian
Actually,
dice
do
or are
look very
they
nice.
Talon's
They're like black and
dice?
gold. They're probably Talon's dice, but I just call them custodian dice because fuck it. I mean, the sisters aren't going to get a codex, then fuck
I
it.
mean, yeah, they're an index. Oh, they are custodian's dice officially.
Yeah, thank you for linking that, because I was like furiously looking around, going like, I know about this news, but I can't find the darn dice. They're really nice dice. And just to describe people in audio forum, there's this like black dice with like a yellow trim to it, and very much just standard, like you know how your standard dice dots are. Instead of that, it's like circles instead, with a hollow inside for black, with a standard skull. I think for the 6.
Skull is usually
it looks like.
1 on GW
Skull
dice.
be 1 and
Yeah,
the
no.
custodian symbol be 6.
Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah.
But
Yeah, they're really nice looking dice. I like those dice because I've complained a lot because the company I now work for, we work with like Q Workshop and all these other dice companies and stuff. And sometimes they'll send us test dice and everything else. And we'll look at them. We're like, I can't read this dice.
yeah,
I can't tell what this is. So seeing dice like that feels so much
yeah,
better.
and GW has a very mixed history when it comes to dice. Like, the squig dice are awful because, as hilarious as they are for being super bouncy, it makes them awful. The Death Guard dice I find basically illegible because it's pale yellow on pale green.
Yeah,
and also not in a neat
buddy of mine
pattern,
who
and
does
it's
that.
just, ugh.
The Sylvaneth ones are pretty bad as well. Because, like, they're all different colours. Like, so, like, one dice will be, like, the one will be blue, but next dice the one will be red and stuff like that. It's like, oh, fuck's sake.
Yeah, GW has a patchy history with dice, let's just say that. Other novels available will be 13th Legion, the Anniversary Edition. Cal Jericho Sinner's Bounty, unless I think, was that one that's already come out and is just probably...
That's come out, and that's already been out in special edition. This is a standard edition.
Right. Oaths and Conquest, the next Sigmar Omnibus, I'm buying that.
Which has William King writing in it.
Oh,
which
God,
is awesome.
yeah, Bill King's writing for it. Awesome.
Yeah.
And the first wall is also there if you missed that one as well, which is good. Hell's Reach is back in paperback for a limited time, because Hell's Reach is an icon and must be treasured. And also we get the first limited copies of the Lionel Johnson novel at the event as well, with a really cool looking cover, I must say, with the hexagrammaton on the front, and also the Seal of Orichalcos.
Yes.
I don't know why there's a Seal of Orichalcos on it. That's a reference. So yeah, it's a cool looking cover, and I'm sure Remleiz's agents will be there.
Of course. Well, I'll be probably getting it online.
I am-
'Cause you can get it online as well.
If you can.
I am always so just jealous of these books. It's like, 'cause I just look at them and the covers and everything, and I'm just like, I never will have time to read the lore, but gosh, I just want them so bad because the covers and everything look amazing.
Yeah. Something a bit more tangible you can get there is the Horus Heresy Legion pin badges. Granted, there's only... there are a full set of... Oh, hang on. Is it a full set of 18? Oh, there's 9 badges, which are the Sons of Horus, the Space Wolves, the Iron Hands, the Blood Angels, the Emperor's Children, the Thousand Sons, the Ultramarines, the Imperial Fists, and the Salamanders. So, a mixed bag.
It looks like I need to give them to like certain people who play those armies, and I need to defeat them to gain those badges.
Yeah, I feel like if you can get a good image of one, screen cap it and just tack it to any like avatar that you've got. So like, I don't know, Valrax.
Just a Warhammer Pokemon journey. Like, I'm gonna go off and defeat the Ultramarines. I'll be the greatest Warhammer player of all.
Yeah. There's also, if you're French and German, I've actually had this problem when I was in France, of trying to get a Warhammer book when you're in France is difficult. So their translation are finally getting updated. Watch of the Throne is actually coming straight across, and the Red Feast, the old Corgus Cull novel, is coming across as well. Because, yeah, actually, while I was away, I never had a problem with it, but sometimes entire army books don't get translated right away, which is quite challenging. But whilst they're there, is that's old novels, Warlord and Mephiston, and online you can
They're doing
get
a print on demand edition of the classic Warhammer Fantasy background book, The Loathsome Rat Men and All Their Vile Kin, as print on demand.
Yeah, I have no idea what that is. I'll be completely honest.
Basically, it's like a Warhammer fantasy version of like Xenology, but about Skaven, essentially.
Fair enough. You also have the chance to catch up with the Siege of Terror in a trio of bundles, which is nice. And there's other bundles as well, such as the Space Wolves audio collection, the Dark Angels audio collection, the Xenos audio collection of 6 to 10 audio dramas each. And this is happening on the 29th of February. So if you can get to it on the bonus day
you
for
can
the
get all
league
these things
year.
online as well, so...
Yes, they are all online, but if you can get into store and get, say, the Regent Shadow, I'm getting Oaths and Conquests, and so on and so forth. I'm talking far too much.
It's fine.
Ah, it's fine.
It's fine. New supplement for Necromunda. They're getting actually, like, effectively codices now. For the gang
House
houses.
of Chains, isn't it?
Yeah, this will be for the House Goliath, which also allows you to have Ogren slave gangs.
With very cool looking new models to go with.
I love the guy with the, I love one of the models that they're kind of showcasing here in their articles is the big guy with like this crusty crown looking thing. He is so far my favorite model in this entire display they're trying to give here in their article.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I see the one. They also give like a roadmap of what's coming. So House of Chains is in this quarter. House of Blades, which is Escher, is in the second quarter. House of Iron, which is, help me, Orlok is quarter 3, and House Delac is quarter 4.
No, it's Van Sar's quarter 4, isn't it?
Is it? Oh yeah, House of Artifice. Sorry, Delac are the shady one. Sorry, it's the neck. The neck and the gaunt face threw me off. Sorry.
Delac are all bald with sunglasses.
Yeah, and all 6 will be getting one, so presumably in the first quarter of 2021 and 2022, you'll get, the first 2 quarters of 2021, you'll get the other 2 major gangs, which will be House, obviously, Delac, and, it's gone out of my head, Cordor, thank you. But nothing for the Palanites Enforcers, they're too small, I suspect.
Well, and technically we already had their book, really, the Book of Judgment.
Ah, yes. But the Ogrin models, I just want to call back to these Ogrin models for a second. The Slave Ogrin gang. I've seen a lot of people looking very happy about these models in general.
I like the fact that we've actually got an Ogrin servitor now. Like the one with the big helmet gas mask thing over its head. That's a servitor, apparently.
It's certainly a pseudo-servitor. Is it officially? Oh yeah, it is a servitor. Augmetic Fist Jotun Servitor. You are right. That's pretty cool. They've also got their own bounty hunter for the Ogrins. So yeah, cool stuff. If you are into your Ogrins or just want big, brawny, bruisey thingies to go along with your armies, I can't complain.
I think it's going to be a bit overpowered in regards to Necromancer. So, okay, I got my gang. What have you got? I've got a bunch of Ogrins. Bagger.
Yeah, I think Goliath will rule the roost until Escher can come out next quarter to balance them up, I suspect.
Oh, I do hope when House of Blades comes up, we actually get a model for the Chimeri Brute, which was like this giant dragon-sized cat monster thing that they genetically engineered.
That sounds terrifying, but they've done the the Sphinxy cat thing for Sigmar's Warcry, so they can certainly do that sort of model.
Yep. And you got the big stumpy steroid boys as well for the Goliaths as well, with their big platform shoes. They are adorable.
Yeah. Plenty going on. If you are a 30k person, then Dark Angels got their Terminators to the Inner Circle Knight Cenobium on pre-order at the moment. They went out on pre-order on Valentine's Day. And we already saw them, but they do look lovely. And we also got to see the sort of sculpt, if not the sort of finished product, for a set of Terror Troop Terminators for, I think, the Night Lords. The Contikar Terminator Elite.
They look awesome. I'm going to get them, obviously.
Yeah, they are like as Night Lordy without wearing your flesh as Night Lords get.
Oh, I really can't wait for Crusade to come out. Because I think that's the name of the next book, isn't it? Crusade.
Yes, I think so. They're also going to get a unique Rite of War for the Night Lords, which is quite interesting. I'm just having a quick read of it. So you're not allowed to take curs, but all your characters get +1 attack if they're on their own. You get more points for Slay the Warlord if you kill them with a character. You get more elite options, and stuff like that, which is just kind of cool. And they also showed off a different version of the Arcator with a Morbus heavy bombard, a new version of the little baby rocket cannon thing.
Yes.
Basically the inspiration for the Plagueburst Crawler, actually. It's this variant.
Ah, okay. So I wasn't far off then.
Yeah, so it says here, there's more than a touch of the Arcator about the Plagueburst Crawlers. So I assume that either they were corrupted versions or just Mortarion nicked the design because he liked it.
It probably would have happened there. They're probably like, we kind of need like a new, basically, asset at some point. It's like, well, let's just go reverse in some way from chaos to purified and see if we can kind of iron them out. Because to be honest, if I'm kind of desperate for ideas in the office, probably what I would start doing. Just look at all the chaos forces going like, I kind of like that. We didn't actually have a loyalist version of that. Let's just steal that real quick.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that's very fair. Moving to one of the other specialist games, Titanicus is getting some very shiny new things.
Titans.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a moment. So there's a new starter set with Reavers, Warhounds, and Cerastus Knights, which may or may not be new to the game. The Warbringer Nemesis, which I believe had just come out the last time we had Zoran on the show. The Titan with the Quake Cannon on its back. I feel like we talked about it the last time you were on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was extremely excited for it, but I think we also talked about, how it looked.
Yeah, we did a lot.
Yeah, I didn't think we liked how it looked, and I kind of liked how, I can't even remember, to be honest with you. It's been a while.
No, I forget the details. Comments remind us, but it's now got its baby version in Titanicus, and it's grown. If I didn't like it before, it's definitely grown on me now. Though that might just be I'm used to it, so I'm a bit apathetic.
Just to make sure I'm looking at the same one we're looking at. We're looking at one with the kind of like the shield on its face, or the other one that looks like a knight face. Just to make sure I'm looking at them right.
The one with a knight face and a ginormous cannon that looks like a bombardment cannon on its back.
I found these really interesting when I was first reading about them, is that they're basically kind of like psychic titans.
Yeah, that's the other one. The one with a blank shield face is the Psy Titan.
Yeah. And for the first one, for the Night Face, in terms of what it looks like, I like everything else but the head. And I guess I'm a person, I think I've talked about this before with like Age of Sigmar and stuff, but this kind of starts going to that realm. I hate it when you try to give something like this eyes, and it looks like, just by blowing up the picture for me and everything else, it looks like it's starting to get to the like eye territory. And it's that style of the knight helmet I'm not really a fan of. But everything else about it, just seeing the backpack of guns, just seeing that thing far into the distance is going like, well, my entire country is going to get bombarded and destroyed. And there's nothing I could do about it. Yeah, it's just going to get deleted. And I don't think they have any preview stats, do they? Because that thing's probably like a...
I don't remember what... You could look up their Forge World stats for the main game. I don't know what they're going to be like in Titanicus, but you could look up their main game stats, because the Quake Cannon is the gun that sits on the top of the Bane Sword. I think it's the Bane Sword super heavy variant, and it basically... I don't know, it's like an 8th edition, but back in the older editions, it was basically, you fire it, everything within a mile radius of it now is struggling to move because it sets off an earthquake when it lands. That's its gimmick.
I have a quick little rules question there. Say, for example, if something with an invulnerability save tanked that cannon, does that... I don't think there's anything that it just annihilates an invulnerability save besides a mortal wound.
Yeah, mortal wounds go through invulns. Normal wounds, no matter how good the AP is, normal wounds do not. Yeah,
and... one of the things that we found out, because we played a little scenario with some of the TTS guys, basically using Titans and stuff, because we had Twitch fire the cannons and stuff. And basically, when they shot at a whole like squad of like Thunderwolf cavalry, and they all had storm shields, I kept having to double check the rules, going like, this shouldn't be happening because the storm shields just tanked an entire Titan shot.
There's a reason that Space Wolf Thunderwolf Cavalry was, for a time, I think in 7th edition.
Oh, they were great.
They were bonkers. Utterly bonkers.
Oh, I loved them. I was that guy who would bring in like 2 things of Thunderwolf Cavalry and delete Land Raiders. It was wonderful.
Oh, but you wouldn't be able to protect yourself, I don't think, from the Warlord Sinister Psi Titan.
Oh,
now,
no.
This thing in 30k has got a 240-inch range, like, multi-shot delete gun. In 30k, this thing costs like 2,500 points and is just a deleting machine because it's a Psychic Titan. Because it was a level 3 Psyker and a Warlord Titan, but bigger with Doomsday Psychic guns. Oh, and also a bunch of other nonsense. Like, the Sinister in 30k is insane. And we will see if they scale it up and actually bring it out for 30k and 40k. And if they do, I look forward to everyone seeing it. Blog, nope, I'm not playing you. You're not bringing that against me. Goodbye.
That kind of brings up a discussion. First, I'm going to talk about this thing before the mentality of whenever you bring these things to a game that it's kind of interesting on how, I don't know how these weapons exactly will work, unfortunately. Like, I don't have that much in-depth knowledge of this, but it's like, I don't know if it's like each and every single weapon powered by basically powered by psychic powers where everything's a mortal wound. And
essentially the weapon's power source is an alpha grade Psyker. For context, that is the highest grade of Psyker short of like Magnus Malcador and the Emperor. And they're strapped to it as the power source of
that
each
is
gun.
Brutal. I love it. And just having
the Imperium.
So I wonder if you could one-shot Land Raiders with this thing. That'd be wonderful. It sucks, but it'd be wonderful.
You'd be one-shotting other Titans with it, probably.
In 30k, it's a destroyer weapon, which means that basically... Well, I don't know how D weapons work in 30k, because I've never actually faced one, but D weapons in 7th Ed 40k was, you don't roll to wound, you just start removing.
Yeah, you just roll the kill.
No, it's like, your spy place in the right place. They're dead.
Was it like a template? Was it like
brutal.
a circle template? You just hovered over generally in his direction. It's like, and get rid of that.
Not quite. I think it was 2+ to kill instantly.
Yeah.
I think, but I forget the details and I don't know what they're like in 30k. I think it's a case of D weapons are ridiculous against infantry, and against big stuff they do like D3 more wounds per shot than they should do. Or something. It's redonkulous, whatever it is.
I just had an absolutely stupid idea.
No.
So you know how some people, they'll put like, little LED lights or little speakers in their Bane blades or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I just now have this mental image of someone taking this side Titan and just putting a little speaker, but it just repeats broken Matt Hardy, so it just goes delete, delete, delete.
Just put on like a heavy radio,
yes.
like bass boosted voices going.
Unworthy opponent, your army will be deleted, and it's gone, and the game's over.
God, just imagine how much the other player must feel. And actually, this brings up another question. Funny enough, with psychic powers, since psychic powers can actually be used in melee and shooting into melee. And since you can advance and all that stuff, I'm pretty sure the gun factor of this will take into effect. But I'm also curious if this thing will have any like just psychic powers of its own that are not weapon based, to say to buff itself and buff other units.
It has psychic powers. It's level 3.
Cool. So at that point, this thing could potentially advance, blast psychic powers at you, then shoot you at a decent enough
with
ballistics.
psychic guns.
Yeah, with psychic guns, dealing so many mortal wounds that even my poor space wolves with storm shields will just melt. Multiple wounds and possibly multiple bits of damage going through. And this thing, and then if it decides to charge you, its ginormous claw thing, which more than likely is going to be doing, like, it's probably not going to be doing mortal wounds, but I'm pretty sure this thing is strength.
It'll be about strength 16. It'll be about strength 16.
So strength, you're dead. And it's just, this thing's going to be brutal. And I say that to come back to the thing I pointed on the mentality of whenever you bring these things to a field. I feel like these will only really be brought in super high point games when someone who has more money than us will ever have will basically come and field these.
Yeah, so I think the Sinister costs about 2,500, 3,000 points in 30k to take.
Yeah, and I'm so curious on like the business models of these because they're so cool, and I only want one just to have for my desk. I know I'll never play this thing, but I'm so curious to see what guy is going to think he's smirking into like a 3,000 point game to basically plop this on the table and spread some Marines or something around and be like, all right, here's my army.
Well, the lucky thing is that currently that model is only available in Titanicus, so on the baby scale.
That's right. But if they bring it, in the 40K,
now,
I mean,
it'll actually be quite nice on your desk. Oh, if they bring it across to 30K and 40K and put it in full Super Warlord scale, then I think the thing is though, because once you've designed the mold, if you sell one, it's basically broken even for the entire year, probably. If you can just sell one. Just with the cost of design, once you've designed it, I don't know. I'm not a design expert, and I would not like to quote numbers. But I bet you don't need to sell many just because of the price of it to break even.
Yeah, I'm thinking about its defenses now at this point, because since it is psychic, like what psychic powers are available in Titanicus? I don't think there's any, right?
We don't. Obviously, it's coming in a new expansion, Shadow and Iron, which will probably introduce them. And how they work. I'm honestly not an expert on Titanicus, so I wouldn't like to say.
Yeah, and also I apologize for the viewers and you guys. I know I'm
confidence.
asking really dumb questions at this point, but I like to think of it as...
No, it's always nice because I don't really know Titanicus well enough, and there'll be some viewers who just genuinely have never experienced this stuff before. Because if you just play straight 40k, and you've never looked at 30k, you'll have never heard of this thing. You never played Titanicus, you'd never have experienced this thing. So it is nice to just talk about them at length as something that's not core 40k. Which is why I like to talk about Sigmar so much, because it opens people up to new opportunities.
Yeah, I guess I was so stuck in the mindset of seeing this thing in 30k and 40k tabletop, or just like, ignore Titanicus. I want to see how this does here. It's like, I just want to see how brutal that is. But for Titanicus, the only thing I can really think of, like with the data cards and stuff they have here, which if you go into the article, I think this would be, it's not its card, but at least shows you, at least the Warlord Titans and stuff. I'm pretty sure they're going to at least balance this enough to where, I don't know, my mentality is basically if it's going to be mortal wounding stuff or doing something to where it's like going to guarantee hits because it is Psyker stuff, they're either going to lower its defense to where it can't have decent void shields to activate during its turns, or basically just, here, you're just the same as everyone else. You just have a neat thing you can do now.
I think the idea with it is it's basically, from its description, it's a super fast, and its ability seems to revolve around speed. So it's a fast-moving warlord with the defenses to go with it, a la Void Shields. What will make it balanced will be its cost. So it might be that you'd be able to take a warlord and a warhound for the cost of taking a side titan.
Yeah.
Or something like that. I don't know what it will exactly be. But I think that's on pre-order now, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we can talk about more and more of these things forever.
Oh, absolutely. There's always something to talk about.
So what else on the listing do we have?
What have we got? The Farsight Empire of Lies novel came out today. Rem and I both have a copy, and we're not talking about it until I've read it. Done. We've got a little bit of information on the Auralan Wardens for the Elven Spearmen. Death Guard are now in Blackstone Fortress. New warbands in Warcry. And for me, probably the most useful thing is they finally got round to releasing all of the Age of Sigmar characters that were to this point locked behind box games. So the Abhorrent Arc Regent, the Warlock Bombardier with a Doom Rocket, the Sylvaneth Arc Revenant, the Gloomspite boss on Giant Squig, the Ogre Tyrant, Vok Mortian. They've been locked behind box games for 3 months in the case of the Ogres, 6 to 7 months in the case of the Elf and the Goblin, and almost a year in the case of the Flesh Eater Court and the Skaven. It's been a year since that box came out. It's been out of circulation for months, and they've had the most powerful character in Flesh Eater Courts unavailable to purchase. And they finally released them individually.
Question.
Yes?
How long has it been since the Burning of Prospero box set was released?
I bought it in second year, so about 2.5 to 3 years.
And we're still waiting for a sole standard release of the Azakaraman model for 30k. Because that was...
And
So
Gigel Fellhand, I think.
Yeah, but no one gives a crap about him. I mean, let's be honest. You say Guy... If they made that guy Bjorn, people would care. But Guy Gefellhand is like, who the fuck's Guy Gefellhand? I mean, I still maintain that the designers intended for that to be Bjorn, then realised, oh shit, hang on, no, he's not here during this point in the story.
Except
fucking make someone else.
He is on Prospero, though.
No, but he wasn't actually during that battle, but he was with Caspar Hauser, wasn't he?
He was with Hauser and then Valdor, I think, by the end.
My point being, he wasn't at a point where he would be fighting as a Caraman.
No.
That's my point.
Yes, point taken and conceded. The other thing they did show was the first sort of snippet, not even a snippet, screenshot and character artwork for one of the upcoming animations. So
with one of the guy looking like Oculus.
Yeah, Oculus was joking about, I'm going to sue you for this. There is only one chronicler in the 40,000 universe who's older. That's my character. Stop. He was joking. But there's some really cool character artwork here. You've got an Imperial Crusader / Inquisitor. Looks like an Arbitrator. A Ganger. A Kalidas? Yes, yeah. Kalidas Assassin. And an Eldari Ranger, because no good Inquisitor seems to leave home without an Eldari Ranger. So, yeah, there's some really cool artwork there. And
there was also a casting call for them as well the other day.
Yes, there was. I missed it, but yes.
And literally, they posted a tweet, and within 5 minutes they deleted the tweet, and then reposted the tweet without the artwork. It's like, whoops.
Yeah. Yeah, that seems sometimes a bit. So sometimes communications with marketing team and then creative, kind of like it's all sort of where someone goes, "Oh, that's not supposed to be there." Bloop.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love the artwork, and I'm also pretty excited because I know basically there's various licensing conventions that I know Games Workshop goes to and stuff, and normally stuff like this doesn't really happen basically over the phone and emails, and going to various places or licensing conventions like this. I think Gamma's coming up pretty soon when I think about it. That I know Games Workshop ever so often has been coming down to some conventions, and normally some people come up and pitch them going like, hey, we should do an anime series, we should do a Netflix thing, we should do this, we should do that. And one thing you'll find a lot when you're kind of in these companies or in this industry is that a lot of things happen during conventions, and conventions are like a really good investment for some of these companies to really send someone who has the ability to say yes and no to things, or at least kind of set things in motion and talk to those people. So I don't know exactly how this animated project got together. I haven't really been able to find much information on this is the discussion that was before and now we're here. But I am absolutely excited, and I feel like this is going to be at least a good thing for Games Workshop and Warhammer itself, because it at least will introduce people to a wider spectrum to this. So more people get exposed to the universe. And also for us, for me, it's for me as a perspective, I'm not super into the lore. I enjoy the lore, but I never get to read it as much as probably you guys. But whenever I even get to have a glimpse of it during, whatever free time I usually get, having an animated version of this to give me a gist of what's going on is fantastic, along with giving me a perspective and a better visual feel from basically the creative side of Games Workshop itself. So at least seeing all of this at least come together, I think is going to be pretty exciting. So people can see what is a day to day? What does the room look like in a Cadian bunker? What does the room look like for this scribe guy? Is it super medieval stuff all the time? Is everything just made out of iron? Those little bits of world building, sometimes I feel kind of get missed a lot in the grand scheme of things. Yeah. At least in someone like me who's not into the lore as you guys. So I'm super excited, and the art looks great.
Oh, speaking of rooms and stuff like that, it just reminded me of something that actually is just been made available. I say available, open rather. So in Nottingham, there's a place called Escapologic, which is basically these escape room puzzles. Oh, and there's a 40k themed one now.
Oh yeah, that came in. That I saw that, and it didn't really register with me.
Yeah, like it's basically set on. You're on a ship traveling through the warp, and you basically have to try and find your way out of this room before something bad happens.
Really cool.
And there's even apparently a talking servitor. I was like, ooh.
We have people. The link to it is Escapologic, escapologic.com. And I'm assuming you'll be able to find it on from there. Just look for Escape Room 40K, I suppose.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to see if they have any screenshots of the rooms. I mean, of course, they probably don't want to really mess with it or so. They do have a video. I don't want to play it to mess up with my recording here, but it's like, I mean, it's really cool to have that. I don't know how accurate they probably could do it because these things don't usually have that big of a budget.
It is based in Nottingham, which is where Games Workshop's HQ is. So they might actually, it might actually be pretty accurate, all things considered, considering they can just pop down the road, effectively. I wonder if actually people from...
I'm going to load up this video without blaring this recording. Oh, no, wait. We might find something, boys. Nope, can't find it. Never mind. I lied to you all.
Good effort, though.
I want to know what the room looks like because obviously they can only modify it to so much. If they really tried to get as accurate as they could, that cost a lot of money. So it's curious, and not to mention these escape rooms either just stay and just activate ever so often, because I doubt these are just going to stay all year from what it looks like, because it looks like just from past. Well, no, actually they might be going as they might have a year contract from it looks like. Or multiple year. That's interesting. I wonder how much of an agreement they got with Games GW.
It opens up on the 27th of April, so people will be able to check it out then. I think like the earliest date you'll be able to see it will be the 27th of April.
Okay, that's 2 and a bit months away. I'm going to forget by then. I'll be completely honest. I'll forget by then, but...
And there are some days
looking
already
at their
fully
calendar
booked.
and stuff. You can book like years in advance too.
Yeah. So yeah, if anyone's in Nottingham in April, or late April, early March, give it a go.
It's also around the time of Warhammer Fest, I think. Or is that Adepticon in April? Adepticon's April, Warhammer Fest is June. Sorry, ignore me. I can never keep track of flipping anything. Is there...
I really want to go to one of those.
Yeah, I always want to go to Warhammer Fest, but it always falls during like the end of year stuff that I have to do, so I never get to go. One year though, I do want to go, even if it's just quietly. But yes.
What is I apologize. What is the biggest Warhammer convention right now?
Probably in terms of GW run, it's Warhammer Fest. Probably the biggest event of all is probably Adepticon, because that was run independently of GW, and now GW just help. They pop along, they do a preview. They might help with the tournament organisation, I don't know. But probably it'll be Adepticon or Warhammer Fest are the two that I always consider the biggest. Then there's LVO is quite a big show. Blood and Glory is quite a big show. But Warhammer Fest is the successor to Games Day, and it's going back to Games Day's old home of the NEC in Coventry. Is it Coventry or is it Birmingham? I forget where it was now. Was it Coventry? It's Birmingham, I think. Yeah, Birmingham. Since it's going back to Games Day's home, that's always been the event, was Warhammer Fest / formerly known as Games Day.
I still remember going back in 1996. God, I'm fucking old.
I wasn't even born.
Yeah, I mostly asked because I really want to see if I can save up money and go to Adepticon and stuff like that. I know I've been talking to try to see if any TTS people or anybody else in our group would be seeing if Adepticon or whatever would be like, hey, you guys are on the internet. You guys want to host a panel? Which I would love to, sit down and do one. But at first, I think I just want to go there and just go as a fan, because most of the conventions I go to, I'm working most of the time. And because I know last year I went to TwitchCon and stuff, and it was a whole bunch of people I got to meet there. And funny enough, there's actually fans of you guys and also of TTS people, because I wore like a hoodie that had my whole thing on the back. And several people came up to me and go, oh man, I love you guys and blah, blah, blah. And it was really humbling as well. It's a lot of amazing people.
Yeah.
And,
sorry.
No, you're okay. Keep going.
I was walking down the main high street. I talked about this on Walk Time Radio, but it hadn't happened, I don't think, before then. We were on Walk Time Radio last week. Go watch that. Rem kind of lost his internet, so he wasn't there much, but I was on it for a lot. It wasn't your fault, it was your internet's fault. But if you want to go and see us on Walk Time Radio, then go over to Scarlett's channel. Sorry, promo done. But I was walking down the street of my town, and I got stopped, just tapped on the shoulder. And, well, for those who know me, I walk like a rocket. So I swiveled. It's like, what the fuck was that?
Who dare touches me?
And it turned out that for the first time outside of a GW store ever, someone recognised me, probably because of the fact that I've grown my hair out, and was just like, "You're such and such, aren't you?" Like, why? From YouTube, like Tactica Imperialis. Like, you're kidding me. Like, first time it ever happened, I was like, "Oh, okay, right, I'm gonna go now."
You're super famous now.
Not really, but it was the first time I'd been ID'd outside of a Warhammer store, so it was a thing and a moment. And the only problem was they were a Dark Angels player.
I've yet to go to a GW yet because can I share a quick story? Is that okay?
Go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So just to give context and stuff, I now work basically for Paizo, who basically makes the Pathfinder RPG now. And basically, I lived in United States and Louisiana, which is kind of bottom middle of the entire country. And I had to drive about 3,000, 4,000 miles from there to Washington. Oof. And I had to drive all through Texas, basically. And I said to stop by in Texas to go visit Randolph Carter, who basically he voices very Dark Eldar and stuff in TTS and also Zegrum. Yeah, and he does Vect and also visit Zegrum, who voices Magnus the Red, because both of them live in Texas. And so I'm like, hey, yeah, just go pick up Zegrum and come meet me at this Games Workshop store. And I have my army and my entire life in the back of my car, so we'll just basically play some Warhammer as a kind of farewell, I'll never see you again type of thing. And I'll basically drive off. I did not know Games Workshops close on Monday and Tuesday. And I arrived on a Tuesday, and I was so upset that the first time I would ever enter a Games Workshop store, that it was closed on an unreasonable day. I guess I don't know what the reason for it is, but it's like we're just standing there looking at it going, God, just this. So I went to Buffalo Wild Wings instead because it was right by it. And as we're sitting there, we look across and the place is fairly empty. There's barely anyone's here. We're looking at all these tables. I'm like, I got all my terrain in the back of the car. We can just throw some tables together and just start ordering wings and playing Warhammer and get fucking sauce all over the models. It was we could figure this out. And they got beer too, so we can just make it an event. But we decided not to because we'll just, I think the waiter or something was like, no, man, you can't do that. And we don't want you to. We don't want to have that risk or something. I can't remember. But it was phenomenal. It was nice to see them and stuff. And then I had to drive all the way up. And to shorten the story as much as I can, I drove basically over 3,000 something miles in under 3 days. Jesus. First day, went up, stopped at a hotel, got to sleep. From that hotel, I didn't get to sleep. I was passing Salt Lake City, I think, and my car has keep lane assist or whatever. So that's the only thing keeping me alive as I am trying to stay awake by yelling furiously in my car. Just like a corn berserker, just pissed off, just trying to keep myself active so I can find a rest stop. I would not find a rest stop in the middle of the night until 9 a.m. in the morning. So at 9 a.m. in the morning, I basically finally stop, try to go to sleep in the car, and then a state trooper knocks on my window, waking me up. Oh. So basically, I roll down the window and ask the guy, is there a problem? Because I'm at a rest stop, and basically, I don't know how it is over there and stuff, but basically, as you're going down a highway, because the country is so big, there's places where you can just park yourself and then go to the bathroom, take a rest, and all that stuff.
Yeah, we have those.
Okay, cool.
Very few, but we have them. Service stations, we call them, off the junction.
And so I was sleeping there, which is fine to do. The guy knocked in there and he goes, sir, you having a problem? So, I've been awake for 2 days straight, driving as well as I can, And I'm just dead tired. I'm disheveled looking. And I go, yeah, man, I was just sleeping in my car. And the state trooper goes, oh, okay. I'm sorry, sir. You look like you were dead. So I'm just came over here to make sure you are okay. And then he turns around and then continues to arrest a guy on his like Tahoe thing or whatever he had. So it was a surreal experience. And then like 2 miles later, I saw 2 Apache helicopters patrolling. So I'm like, neat. And that was my introduction to Washington State.
Excuse me, sir. I'm arresting you on suspicion of this. Hang on a minute. Excuse me. Are you all right there, sir? Okay, you're alive. Good.
That's literally back over here. So apparently that guy thought I was dead in my vehicle and stopped arresting a guy to make sure I was okay.
I'll be honest, I was half expecting you to turn, and so the state trooper knocks him in and goes, excuse me, sir, are you ZoranTheBear?
I was like, yeah, fuck off, and just roll back up the window. Yeah, I'm sorry to kind of interrupt a Warhammer talk, but I found that to be an interesting story. But I always want to tie that in to basically, because now that I'm up here in Washington near Seattle, that basically there is a games workshop like in Seattle. And one day I want to visit there. And I'm so mad I didn't take the time to visit the Warhammer Cafe that's in Dallas. Because I really wanted to take like a couple of vacation days and go there just to visit it. But I never got the time, and I don't think I ever will. But I definitely want to visit the one up in Seattle at one point.
Yeah, that's fair. And it's one of the things that you actually can do, because there's no Warhammer cafes in the UK. They're exclusively a US thing for some reason.
In fairness, we still have Bugman's Bar.
Yeah, we have. Bear in mind, our country is about the size of a US state and a half. So, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, maybe it's more than one state, but it's not quite probably. State. Okay, yeah, we're smaller than Texas, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
We got a lot of land. Just to put it for that. So I apologize to derail for
no
for all that stuff. So what else do we got?
I mean, I could tell the story about the time I dropped a water balloon on a student's head. That was funny.
You monster.
By accident. We were doing an experiment. No, genuinely, it was an experiment we were doing. So we were investigating specific heat capacity, which I'll spare you the science, is the amount of energy it takes to heat something up. And I wanted to show that if you put fire underneath a balloon that's full, it pops immediately. But if you fill it with water first and you hold the lighter underneath, it takes a lot longer to go because the water needs to heat up first. And we showed this, but I didn't put enough water in. So it didn't last long enough for me to take it away, and it kind of burst all over the student and my jacket's head. So I regretted that instantly, but that was a fun story, and everyone laughed it off. And parents' evening that evening was not awkward, so it's fine.
Yeah, as long as you didn't get brought into an office going like, you have now spread so many viruses on this kid from tap water. You have now destroyed this child.
I'll have you know, I only used urine.
Oh, it's sterilized. The kid's gonna be fine.
If it's good enough for Mike Patton.
It's good enough for Bear of Girls, it's good enough for your kid. He'll survive. The immune system must become strong.
Yeah, no. Yeah,
don't worry, we'll keep your job safe.
This is on my channel this week, so
until they find this podcast.
There's a reason why it shows with sweary people now go on Rem's channel, because I have an audience that could involve my students now. So I'm very careful now about what I say and do.
So Ian Watson.
Fuck.
No, just kidding.
This is the first time we get exposed to this. Go on, Remleiz.
Actually, I got nothing to say about Ian Watson.
You weren't on episode 50 when it just descended into madness, because I don't know what happened. You couldn't make episode 50 for some reason.
Was that your special thing, right?
Where everyone was.
I was working at the time. Yeah, I was working at the time, because you guys usually do this on like a Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I always work on Friday, because your guys' time zone is like right now. I would be at work if this was on a Friday. So unfortunately, I really wanted to attend and stuff.
Yeah, we all thought, we were like, where's Zoran? We hadn't realized that you hadn't given your apologies. So we all thought you were still coming.
No, so I think I can't remember what it was, but I know it was so busy that I didn't even have access to, or the ability to look at my phone or do anything else. It was just swamped with stuff. I think I was doing it. Yeah, I don't remember. Regardless, sorry, years later.
That's all right.
But now I'm like, this is like what, 90?
90, yeah.
You guys do anything for 100?
Probably the same again, but with a lot more guests, because we've been going another 50 shows.
Yeah. You do it on a Saturday, and I'll actually be able to attend, because Fridays I have to work.
It would just be 2 hours of screaming. It'd be like the warp.
There's a reason we moved it to Rem's channel. There's a reason why we switched it over.
No, the reason you moved it to my channel is because I was on holiday.
Oh yeah, actually, I had to do 2 episodes back to back because you were away. So I had to do the Valrek episode that would have been on your show, which actually became my show, and we just swapped the order. The fact you got 100 and got it off my channel was just a happy accident.
Pretty much.
I mean, you get all the ad revenue, but you need it, so it's totally fine.
But anyway, speaking of torture, for whatever reason, I had to read a CS Goto story, because CS Goto is like the only guy who wrote any extended lore in regards to the Mantis Warriors, and it was one of the most painful experiences I have had.
He doesn't watch his podcast, right?
No.
I doubt it.
If he does, he'll have left about 70 episodes ago when we were slagging off the Dawn of War novels.
Someone's going to tell him, hey, Remleiz was shitposting your fan fiction. Just...
Oh, Thunder was shitposting his fanfiction long before I started.
I was going to say, Thunder's been at it for years.
But like it's like the editing in it is so bad. Like half the dialogue is missing speech marks, so it's like we got 2 characters talking, and only one of them has speech marks with his dialogue. For one, we have a scene that's like, our ship's being boarded. Librarian, go and fend off the boarders. Librarian goes off. Next is Librarian is in a moon crater with lava. It's like, hang a fuck on, what, did I miss a fucking scene? And also, an extremely curious grammar choices like, does this sound right to you? Okay, I'm going to just read this pretty much verbatim. The auto guns remained quiet and inactivated.
What?
Deactivated. The word is deactivated.
Send me a paragraph. I want to read one.
Inactive or deactivated.
It should be inactive or deactivated, not inactivated. It's just like...
Yeah, that's not a word. That's not a word.
Fucking... No, apparently it is a word. It's just a very...
Oh.
It's just the wrong word for that grammatical sentence.
Fair enough.
Because I actually typed it out, and it's like, it didn't come up in my spell check. It's like, oh, apparently it's a real word. Just the wrong fucking one. Oh, and he also had the Astral Claws as being in black and gold armor, even though it's in, blue, silver, and gold. But hey, I'm willing to chalk that up. I'm willing to chalk that up as just something that's been retconned.
Yeah, there's a lot of the old novels, like Sanguinius' hair is a classic example, where he went from being brunette to blonde.
Or Lehman Russ, he went from a redhead to blonde.
And so on and so forth.
But it's just...
Remleiz, you want to send me a paragraph of that, and I'll read one.
I'll get to it in a bit, but it's like I can't... My microphone's sitting on my keyboard, so it's hard to actually type such a file.
Oh, okay. It's a different format. Got it. Yeah, don't worry about it.
But I actually...
If it's going to be a struggle to copy-paste, don't worry.
That being said, I did actually send a... part of the stuff to Narina, because I showed her the scene that was missing all the speech marks.
And Narina's also a teacher, I think.
She's a language teacher, yes.
Yes, I thought she was. I knew she was a teacher. I couldn't remember exactly of what. So I knew it was either English or languages.
The top paragraph, that's narration, and the next 4 lines are all dialogue. And notice how 2 of the lines of dialogue are missing quotation marks, like for actual dialogue. It's like, that's an error I expect in, like, a school kid or something.
It's not great.
This is Goto.
It's not
This is Goto. This is the guy who also had in one of his stories a chaplain with a jump pack dual-wielding multi-melters.
Yes, and also the Razorback that turned into a Land Raider and back
multi-lasers,
again.
Multi-lasers, you all know the fucking mean.
Yes, we've done that joke even more to death than you've done Ian Watson. So let's leave
Speaking of lasers, Ferrus Mouse caught a las cannon beam in his hand and crushed it and ate some sand because Ferrus Mouse likes to eat sand.
Speaking of more dead memes.
Yes.
Let's move on.
But aside from that, the other thing I managed to read was actually something somewhat decent. It wasn't as bad as fucking Go. No, it was actually Deniathos, which is like the little soul drinker novella.
Oh, yeah, I know the one.
And that has probably one of the most amusing explanations in regards to the lost Primarchs. It's one that's obviously fake, because one, Deniathos is a pathological liar. If anyone who's read it,
and two, the book literally says it's lying.
yeah, literally there's like an Imperial Fist note saying, "Ha, laughable." But yeah, I'll just pretty much read it word for word. The Emperor created the Primarchs in his own image, but they were not enough to conquer the galaxy on their own. There were 20 Primarchs, but 2 of them the others despised. The Primarchs killed these 2 and cut them up into thousands of pieces. Each piece was implanted into a warrior, and it transformed them into the first Space Marines. Now, bear in mind the context of the scene. Deniathos is basically being tortured / interrogated and by a corrupt missionary / magus biologist weirdo guy. It's complicated. But basically, he doesn't understand what gene seed is. And so Deniathos is just like, yeah, I just need to keep this guy's attention, have him come closer so I can bite his fucking head off. Well, I say bite his head off, but he literally bites through his neck until it's like hanging just by a few strings of grizzle. So, close enough.
Lovely, thanks for that image.
But yeah. It's actually a surprisingly decent little novella. It's like segmented into little, basically like about 5 or 6 short stories, essentially. Interesting thing, the very first one in this, it's set during the siege of the Ecclesiarchal Palace during the Age of Apostasy.
Okay.
So it's like, I think it's actually the first bit of fiction we have in regards to this.
Yes, I think.
Even though, like, everything in the story is essentially falsehoods and lies, because there's loads. Because throughout it, there's all these little notes from the Imperial Fist for saying, like, basically saying, this is bullshit. Let's see how he's lying. He can't even keep straight the number of dreadnoughts this chapter has. So there are no records of this planet existing. There's no records of this person ever existing. If this is true, then this is why they are damned, etc., etc.
Always good to see a little bit of, not quite meta jokes, but referential.
Yeah.
Good.
I enjoyed it, actually. I got the version that's got all the little drawings in it as well. It's like all these little sketches like from the author himself. So, a lot of decent artwork in there.
Oh, very nice. Is it Ben Counter?
It is, yes.
Soul Drinkers? Thought it was.
Yeah.
Because I remember the last Soul Drinkers novel coming out around the time I got into the hobby. The Soul Drinkers were just getting their series finished off when I got into the hobby, I think.
Yeah, this is basically set just before the events of Phalanx. Because basically, like...
Right.
Because obviously Deniathos plays a huge part in that novel. And it's basically saying, like, read this so you understand why Deniathos is such a big fucking deal.
Sort of the official companion piece come prequel that you actually need to read for no good reason.
Pretty
but you
much,
do.
yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to read anything. I've started, I've read maybe 2 chapters of Gloomspite, which is the AOS Gloomspite Gits novel, but I've now got Empire of Lies, so guess what's going on the back burner while I read about orcs and Arthur's Moloch. Priorities are in the very right place when I'm reading about Farsight.
I think the only thing we can actually say for certain in regards to the Farsight novel is that Captain Badrock's in it.
Yes, he is in the Dramatis Personae, and that is canonically... Sorry, I've got a great in my mouth. That is canonically accurate, because the War of Daka, referenced in the 4th edition Orc Codex, does involve Badrock's mercenaries being hired by War Chief Grog to absolutely obliterate a bit of Firecast, so it checks out.
And I think it's actually the first time he's been featured in fiction as well, actually, isn't it?
I am not sure, but I think you might be right.
It's always nice when you get some, very long-running characters who finally get mentioned in a fucking story. Like, that's not just, a bit of information in a codex or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that's true of actually every orc character that actually that isn't Gazgul.
Because Badrock's been around since as long as Gazgul has
ages
in the lore.
He's certainly been around since 4th edition.
He's been around since 2nd.
I got into the game at 4th, 5th, so I can't go back further than that.
He actually had a model.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, the model didn't survive.
Back in 2nd edition, there's a few 2nd edition orc models that never ever got updated. Nazdreg being another one.
Yeah, Badrock has had his model updated, to be fair. He got his model updated in January of 5th edition, along with Zagstruck.
Yeah.
I'll find the image. It was him, Zagstruck, and Snickrot all got models.
Oh, yes. They were still waiting for an update of Zodgrod Wartsnagger.
Old Zogwart would be nice. That's Zagstruck, you Egypt, not Badrock. I've got the Zagstruck and Snickrot model, so I went by default. I just typed Boss Zagstruck, not fucking Captain Badrock. I'm so bad. Right, copy image. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to put this up like anywhere that needs to be seen, but there you go. So yeah, Badrock got his model. It's really cool, and it fits with the Flash Kit models. I've got a Flash Kits unit, and they're really cool, and I want more of them. But yeah, that was Badrock from January. But yeah, so that'll be cool. But can we have like Wazdaka and Zogwart as well, please?
No, can we just actually have, Nazdrig again, please?
Actually, have we had a Ghazghkull novel? Because I don't remember Ghazghkull being very much in the Siege of Piscina 4.
He was. Ghazghkull was in the
Purging of Cadillus.
Ghazghkull was in one of the Yarrick novels, I think.
Oh, yes, the Yarrick novels. Of course he was. But that would be... Yarrick's had maybe 2 novels. Then there was also the one where...
he's had 3, at least.
Yeah, there was Gunheads as well, where they went to get the Fortress of Arrogance off Golgotha.
Yeah, because there's Chainsaw Golgotha, Imperial Kree, and Pyres of Armageddon.
Yeah, I knew about the first one because someone I used to speak to was a big Yarrick fan back when I was a Guard player, but I never really kept up with Yarrick's story that closely.
It got stagnated at some point, didn't it? Or did it keep going as editions kept going? Because last I was able to hear of anything of Yarrick, it's pretty much been like, all right, he got to the point where he was fighting an orc Wog at one point on the planet, and then the story stopped, unless I missed something completely.
Yeah, there was Armageddon 3, and then Ghazghkull started fuck from Armageddon, and Yarrick set off in pursuit with the Black Templars, last I heard.
There was an ambush then at a place where Ghazghkull escaped through the power of Weird Boys, and unless there's been an update in the 8th edition codex for the Guard, then I don't think anything's happened since then. I think.
I'm just more surprised how Yarrick's still alive in the current setting.
How is anyone alive?
Because he was an old man by Armageddon too.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure 40K is... Yeah, go ahead, I'm sorry.
And 150 years have passed since Gilliman came back. At minimum.
57 years between Armageddon 2 and 3.
So Yarrick's got to be at least knocking on 300.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, with all the enhancement stuff and pretty much the life extension technology that the World of Warhammer has, they're probably like, this guy's super important. We probably need to keep him up. So he probably goes back to like medical facilities just to keep getting rejuvenated in some way.
Yeah, but rejuvenate treatments do not make one immortal. So it'll be interesting to see exactly how effective it's proved to be. Actually, what happened to... why did Shadowstone get a new armor?
Yeah, while you're looking that up, a random question to you find your answers. I don't think we've still had a Space Marine die from old age yet, have we?
The Salamanders had the ritual where you walked off into the fire, but I don't believe anyone has been seen to canonically die of it. Was there a story of a Space Marine being taken out of their, the stasis that they can put themselves in, and just like essentially dying straight away from coming out of the stasis?
I think there was one of the Salamander stories, actually. I think. I could be wrong, though. Like, the Salamander was like something like 1,000 years old or something like that. Or 10,000 years old or something stupid.
And they've been spending loads and loads of time in the... Oh, what is the name of the process where you... What's the organ that puts you to sleep?
Susan membrane.
That's it. The Susan, suspended animation, thank you. The Susan membrane. They spent absolutely donkey's years basically trapped in the Susan coma because they couldn't get themselves out of it anymore. And then they woke up and essentially just died there and then. or were woken up and died there and then. I think I could be wrong.
He woke up and suddenly went, I'm having cardiac arrest.
Oh, wait, what year is it? Oh, no, I'm having a cardiac arrest. That's a reference, if you know it.
Yes.
But anyway, yes. I'm trying to see here why Shadowsun got... when and how Shadowsun got her armor upgrade, and doesn't actually say, which is kind of sad.
It's a retcon saying, like, she always had this armor.
No, it's not a retcon per se.
I'm
just
teasing.
Just like... Okay, she's got a new store. It's still the XV22, but it's left its Well, it seems to have left its prototype phase. It's just her armor now, but it's now got two more guns, and its fusion blasts have 2 more firing modes, and she's got a new drone.
It's a custom edition XV22.
She's still the only one who's got one.
I know, but that's why it's a custom.
Yes,
it's custom made for her.
But anyway,
custom made for her.
But it's good that. The big thing though with Shadowsun, sorry, I'll be quick, is that you can use Shadowsun and Farsight in the same army now.
Oh, bloody hell.
So the Supreme Commander rule they've given Shadowsun says that you can put her in any Empire detachment without preventing other units in that detachment from gaining a Septenet. However, she does not benefit from the Septenet unless it is the Tau Sept one. So you can put her in a Farsight Enclaves army. She gets no benefits and she buffs nobody because she's not Farsight Enclaves, but you can take Shadowsun and Farsight in the same army now.
Sorry, I just find that absolutely amusing.
Well, the thing is, I didn't really care about the greater good for a while. It's like, okay, I'll buy it because I want to see the new rules. And then he said, oh, by the way, the 8 are getting a data sheet in here. Oh, and Shadowsun's getting a new data sheet. Oh, okay. And Shadowsun's getting a new model. Okay. Oh, and also a bunch of new stratagems and stuff that you might want to see. Okay. And also some lore. Oh, and also Shadowsun and Farsight can go together. Sold! I'm buying the model. I didn't care about buying the model because I was never going to use her as an Enclaves player. And suddenly, now I can use her. Win! So I bought her. It's a really cool kit, actually. It looks really good. It's all on one frame, and I'm looking forward to working on it, to be honest.
Yeah, most have been looking at it, and I remember when it got basically revealed that... I guess it's a perspective of me, because obviously I'm on the Space Marine side of things, which we are pandered to just because we give them more money. So I'm always excited whenever there's basically anything that's not Space Marine models or Chaos models that come out. Because Chaos finally has been getting a good chunk of love from what I've been noticing. But
its range has basically been updated.
Yeah, and I'm so happy that they got updated and stuff in terms of new models and stats and all this other stuff. And there's still a debate going on of Primaris Marine still in several of my circles. But it's to the point of where anything new, I want new Orc models, want Dark Eldar stuff, I want a whole bunch of new Tyranid stuff at least. I think Tyranids haven't got updated in a long time. So anything.
Yeah, Tyranids. I think the last model that was new for the Tyranids was the Toxicrene and Maleceptor, which was during the Shield of Baal campaign, which was December of 2016.
A
while ago.
Unless you want to count, the new Patriarch model for Genestealer cults.
Which we don't, because that's a Genestealer cult.
No, but you can use it as a count as Broodlord.
But it's a Genestealer Patriarch.
I know, but you could probably use that as a count as Broodlord.
I'm pretty sure you can proxy it as it, but I think the point would still stand to where it's I think Tyranids need some love. And as much as I like playing my Space Wolves and I like getting new stuff for my army and stuff, I understand how bad it must feel that if you're a Tyranid player, and I think Orcs are now starting to get some stuff now, to where just seeing Shadowsun gives me hope that those guys will eventually get something.
Yeah, it's kind of armies get updated in a spate and then don't get touched for a decade. So Drukhari got an entirely brand new army in the space of about 2 years and then didn't get anything until Drazhar. Maybe there was an extra Succubus model came out in between, but that was it. Orcs got January in January 2009. Then we had the next update that they really had was October in 2019. There was a little bit of stuff in the middle.
And October was mostly Slanesh models.
Yes, and it all came out in November. Tau got their 6th edition codex in 2014, which gave us the Riptide, it gave us the new Commander kit, the new Ethereal, and the Fireblades, and I think that was it. But, and then the new Flyers came out in like 2016. No, that was also that might have been around the same time, actually. A lot of the Flyers were around 2012 to 2015. But the Tau then haven't had anything since, until now with Shadowsun. It's like you get all your stuff, and the Tyranids were the same. They got all the new monstrous creatures, the Trigon, the Morlock, the Hive Tyrant, the new Gargoyles, the Venomthrope, the new Lictors, the new... Not new Lictors, new Zoanthrope, new Maliceptor, Toxicrene, yada yada yada, all in the space of about 3 or 4 years, but they won't now see anything for the best part of a decade. That's sort of how it is to be a Xenos player. Take what you get and wait for a decade.
It's like, and you also have to think about this as well, that I know for like on how some other companies now work and stuff, that they have this stuff planned out years in advance. On basically,
GW I think works like 2-3 years ahead.
Yeah, it's usually how most companies like board game tabletop companies work. It's basically within 2 years or so they already have all their projects planned out because they have to plan all that stuff in advance of the workloads and stuff. So knowing that, like, I think it's mostly with, obviously, this company has to run by analytical data, which is why you see so many Space Marine stuff, because it makes them money. It keeps them afloat. And I'm pretty sure if we all stopped buying Space Marine stuff, the company would probably go down fairly hard, fairly quickly. So
yeah, GW's massive profits and expansion are due to Space Marines, let's be real here.
Yeah, like, and just seeing any trickle of anything from that. So I guess the overall message is that if you don't want to see more Space Marines, stop buying Space Marines and start buying Orcs. So in their data, they can shift gears.
Well, this is what Aaron Dembski-Bowden said when he came on the podcast, is like, I'd love to see like more Tau novels. I'd love to see more Orc novels and stuff that isn't just Space Marines, Imperial Guard, shooty, bang, bang. And his mindset was, right, the authors have to put so much time in, so if you want it, you have to vote with your wallet and give GW the idea of, hey, this is worth commissioning, and the authors, hey, this is worth taking on. So it's basically, it's a vote with your wallet thing. It really is. Sad to say. Capitalism.
And basically the only authors who will ever have a chance of making money off writing Xenos novels are the ones who can write extremely fast. So basically guys like Gav Thorpe, for example.
Guy Haley, David Geimer. Those sorts of people can do it because they don't need to spend half a decade. Well, I think ADB spends like 2 or 3 years per book.
Yeah, because when was the last novel he released? It was Spear of the Emperor, wasn't it? Yeah.
Spear of the Emperor. And the one before that was Master of Mankind.
And so basically the next one he'll be doing is the next one in the Siege of Terror series, I would assume.
Which will probably be end of this year, start of next, depending on how long it takes.
Now my question is that obviously they have in-house writers, more than likely. Obviously the game designers and stuff, and developers to help with the books and stuff. Are those like most of the like 30K novels? Like, well, let me phrase this question better. What current books are already in line that we were aware of? It's mostly like the Horus Heresy series, I think, is still going, and then like any other random books, or
the Heresy's over.
Okay, because did they finally get like the final Siege of Terra thing out? Because
the Horus Heresy series is over.
Okay.
The Siege of Terra series of 8 books is about halfway through, and that's all been roadmapped. We know who's writing all the books for that. We already know. After that, we don't know. In terms of in-house writers, Phil Kelly, for example, is one of Age of Sigmar's chief writers. He writes the Farsight novels.
Yeah.
Just as an example. But generally, it's not written by in-house. It's written by
freelancers mostly.
Mostly freelancers who mostly do publish for GW, but not exclusively. Like Gav Thorpe, for example.
Yeah. Okay, so one other topic that I actually wanted to kind of bring up and stuff is one of the things I kind of knows from all this is that, or at least in my experience, is that I've never really bought models basically from like GW themselves. Like majority of my buying experience has either from like my local friendly game store or something like that. That's pretty much probably where everyone gets their stuff. Since I've never been able to step into a damn Games Workshop because they close when I move across the country. But It's mostly just been a case of I never have done anything directly with Games Workshop. And majority of my buying experiences have been like mostly through eBay because I just don't want to paint my models. I think I started to get to the painting game at some point inside the hobby because it was like, oh man, I want to get into this. And I started to get all right. But then I was like, I can't spare all this time anymore. So I just bought pre-painted models on eBay for like most of my Space Wolves that I was currently playing with. Because it was just so much easier. Like I painted like an army of Space Wolves. I'm like, this took so much time, and I don't want to be like some people who have basements full of unpainted models. I prefer to have like at least a painted army, which I now thankfully have like this dwarf space marine conversion army, which is like the love of my life. But this thing will go to me with the grave. So I want to ask you guys mostly the question. I was like, do you actually buy anything directly from Games Workshop or mostly from like a distributor or local friendly, a local game store that isn't Games Workshop, like, focused mainly? It's just like a hobby shop, really.
Yeah, for me, it's depended on. Oh, sorry,
I was going to say, in regards to like novels, like limited editions, like, I'll go for like Black Library and that just because that's pretty much the only place you can get them. In regards to like the larger things, like like a box game, for example, like the Wrath and Rapture set or Blood of the Phoenix, I generally go through Goblin Gaming, which is like a third-party game store, and very lovely people, because whenever I order from them, they always give me sweets. Priorities. But for smaller things like, books and just stuff like that, I will go, through GW or Black Library.
Yeah, for me, it really depends on where I'm living. So for a while, I had a GW at my local shopping centre when I started out, so I bought my miniatures from there. That store then closed and moved about 4 towns down, so there was no local store. So I went to a hobby store in my local town and went there. Then I came across the university, and again, my nearest shopping centre had a GW, so I went there. Where I'm living now, I've got a GW about a quarter mile down the hill, or I can go the other way, about a mile up the hill, where there's Element Games, who are affiliated with Kirioth and other people. And I've used both of them. Generally, I buy direct from G-Dubs. I know it's the more expensive route, I know. But it's a very small G-Dubs. So unless it's something that's brand new or very popular, like, for example, Basic Infantry, if I need to get something a little bit more niche or a big unit that they just can't fit on the shelves anymore, I'll go to Element. I generally don't buy online. Just out of habit, I prefer to have it in my hand then and there, so I'm not sitting around impatiently waiting for it. But yeah, generally G-Dubs, unless it's something that I can't get from them or there isn't a store nearby.
Also, I'm looking up your Goblin Gaming here, Remleiz, and because I'm curious, I was getting curious as I was listening to Tactica that I was like, I wonder if they have Pathfinder stuff. They don't have Pathfinder 2nd edition yet. They still have the playtest. It's like this. You kind of need to update your stock. But yeah, but I've always been interested to hear a lot of that stuff because obviously in your guys' area, you have more access to Games Workshops than I do.
There's one in nearly every. Yeah. There's one or two in every major city, and probably one in every 5th town.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see the statistics of basically like what is it compared to like Americans and those in the EU and also in Britain and all this other stuff to basically be all like, hey, where exactly did you get your Space Marine fix for the most part?
It is pretty much a British institution. Like pretty much everyone in this country has either heard of or at least dabbled in Warhammer at some point in their lives. Like literally everyone.
Yeah, genuinely. Like I was talking to my teacher colleagues at uni, and they were saying, "Oh, I've got a YouTube channel. Oh, what's it? Oh, no, you might not have heard of it. It's this thing called Warhammer. Oh, I've heard of that. What's that again?" Like almost everyone's heard of it. If you've gone through general secondary school, then you've come across Warhammer pretty much.
It's their master plan to get into the younger generations, and they're Disneyfying it in their attack patterns.
Not really.
Corrupt the kids, and then they will buy the models when they're older.
To be fair, I think a lot of parents would rather have their kids hooked on plastic crack than actual crack. Right? So,
at least you're reading with the plastic crack.
It kind of works. Yeah, if you want to do it, you can do some reading. Painting, you can get better for their art exams. I didn't. I genuinely was awful at art, and my painting is still not great to this day. But with all the things that it does and the social outlets it can encourage, particularly for students who don't have a large friendship group or find it difficult to do stereotypical kiddish social sporting activities, it is a really good social outlet. Like, it was my social outlet for 5 to 7 years, and in some ways it still is. It's just gone from in person to online with things like this. So
which brings up one quick discussion, if you don't mind, before we go to questions and stuff. That
no, it's fine.
I wanted to bring up a little bit of discussion. I don't know how much this might throw into it. Is the discussion of pretty much online play compared to hobby play. And preface this, because I know this riles people up a little bit here and there, is that I prefer going to a hobby shop to play Warhammer 40K. I vastly think it is the superior form to go to a hobby shop, bring all your models, socialize with some friends, crack open a few beers, have a good time playing Warhammer. That is unrivaled. I hope everyone understands that. But I also want to bring up the discussion of basically, what do you guys think of basically as a subsidy of basically, like, say, if me and you wanted to play Warhammer 40K, it's logistically almost impossible. We have to spend thousands of dollars to basically do that. So what is your opinion, and both of your guys' opinion, of basically playing Warhammer 40K on virtual, like, basically platforms, like Tabletop Simulator and stuff like that?
I have no objection to it. I agree with you. Going to playing with your friends or against randoms at a hobby store cannot be beat. I don't drink, so take the beers out, but the fun of going to a hobby store and playing a game, or just getting a few friends around and having some matches, is unrivaled. I can't knock it at all. I've not had a situation where I've tried or needed to play my hobby online, because if I've been away, I've always known I'm coming back in a few months, we'll arrange it then. But in the case of, for example, playing against yourself, yes, I see no problem with it, as long as the game system is designed in such a way as it feels like the main game. So can it do true line of sight measurements? Is the dice rolling properly random? And how much of it is done automatically? So let's say you roll 70 dice and each 6 generates an additional hit. Do you then need to go count up your manual 6s and add another dice for each manually? So how friendly is the UI? How intuitive is the game system in that online sphere? I have no problem with it. I just don't know how well the system would work. And I think if it was a clunky manual system, I would really be disenfranchised with using it.
Remleiz, you want to tirade in this discussion?
No, you guys pretty much raised all the same points that I was going to mention, because I have no issue in regards to the concept of playing online via something like Tabletop Simulator, but at the same time, nothing beats actually having the real stuff in your hand. Yeah,
and even for you, as someone who doesn't play much,
at least gives you an opportunity.
Even if you don't play much, you still know and appreciate that social side of getting a few friends together for a game. Even if you don't do it much, you know and you appreciate it. Sorry, that was badly put.
No, I think we understand your point. Like, there's still a social aspect to it, and it's also like learning etiquette as well as going to a hobby shop and stuff, and everything else, like learning how to go out for it. Because basically, learning how to socialize a lot more and stuff like that, not getting cooped up in your house too much, painting 5 million models and going out and sharing this wonderful art you've just created is part of the hobby. And it's a sight to see. You have no idea how awesome it is when whenever got to visit hobby shops and stuff and saw people's amazingly painted models. I'm like, dude, that looks amazing. And even people look at my models and be like, the dwarf conversions, I'm like, dude, that's so cool. And it makes you feel good as well when you're on that side. It's like, this army I didn't do any work in. It's like, my army looks so cool.
I had, because of Shadow Sun getting her upgrade, a subscriber of mine that was selling off their Tau army and sent me their converted Farsight, which is converted from the actual bigger, bulkier commander kit. And I'll forward the image on. It's an absolute... I love the model. I got it here. Yeah, I do. So I'll forward it on here, and basically it's just like it's Farsight, and it is still just Farsight, but it's now a new version. And as soon as I got it, I wanted to go to store and show it off, in essence, to
it's a sense of pride,
people, and use it in a game.
It's like you finally,
it's a sense of
you
pride.
kind of come in there and you're like, oh yeah, this is awesome, this is amazing, and it's a good feeling.
Yeah, I didn't get to use it, but it is. Let me just find it now.
Like, as you find the image, I wanted to mostly bring the discussion in, put a little bit of spotlight to it, because I've discussed this before, and usually the pushback that I would get are people basically going like, no, it'll destroy the hobby, and no, this is a superior form, so this must never be seen into the light and stuff like that. I've always found that interesting of a mentality.
That's gatekeeping.
It's an interesting thought process, because in my side of things, and it's an amazing looking, Farsight model, by the way. It looks gorgeous. I love the basing on it and everything else. I love the thing they did with the sword.
Thank you,
He's
PG.
like, amazing. The person did an amazing job. Absolutely. I love it.
No,
it's okay.
Sorry,
I bring up those points mostly as like, I don't want to try to this is how you must think kind of deal. Please don't take that assumption. But it's mostly a case of hey, I look at it mostly as a way to at least enjoy the game and the hobby itself, and at least enjoy the game in a more accessible way. And normally, sometimes when I usually teach people how to use Tabletop Simulator, which I recently made a video on my channel basically saying, here's how you set it up. I'm not teaching you the rules. I'm teaching you how you get your stuff to play and stuff. And people have come back to me either in the comments and directly on Discord and stuff. And even on my Discord, people are now starting to get, starting to play the game. And then that, in relation to doing that game, they are now actively making their own armies in real life. Now that they've gotten a taste of the game, they're like, I really enjoy this. I really want to play in real life now. They're using it as a way to understand what they want. Instead of normally what people would do is they'll see a cool unit, they'll buy it, paint it up, and all this other stuff, put it on the field, and find out they suck. Or find out that this is not how they wanted them to be played, because you only get to play so often. You don't know how well statistically they're going to do unless you read a bunch of stuff and look at a bunch of YouTubers. But even then, it's not really going to help you out much. They're actually able to play and test out your stuff and then go get what you want. I feel it's a good trial entry in basically getting those models. But of course, various arguments can be made of some people going hey, I'm just going to play this. I'm not going to buy the models, which I think is just a sell that would never happen. In general, if they weren't interested in buying it before, they're probably not going to be interested in buying it ever. And they just want to play the game, which is fine. So it's I want to mostly just bring that up as a case of and also ask your comment sections and stuff. And I'm sorry if I'm going to destroy your stuff, by the way.
No. It's always fun. I think the subscribers don't. Well, I don't know how much they mind if we don't get to questions, but we only get through a few questions in any show anyway, because there's always discussions within discussions anyway. So sometimes having these discussions as opposed to just those questions, it works either way. So I think they'll be okay with it. Sorry, guys.
So regardless, I want to bring that up mostly the case and have them have a bigger discussion. I'm interested in seeing multiple points of views and stuff. So it's because I say it's from a case of I'm just want to play the game and have fun, and then whenever I want to go to a hobby shop, I'll know what to buy and get. But other people might have a different opinion, and I'm interested in seeing them. So I'll stop now so we can actually answer some of those questions you have sent in, so I don't take up too much time.
Yeah, I'll have to be quite choicey,
Sorry.
just for the sake of I don't want to go too far. No. Do not apologize.
If you want to apologize, you just read what
Don't make me suffer, please.
no promises.
Bring forth the first question.
Okay, so this one might actually come up in Psychic Awakening 7. How do the Admech view technopaths, which are technologically attuned psychers? Do they consider them as people blessed by the Omnissiah, or filthy psychers that defile the gifts of the machine god?
I think this has been touched on before. Psychers who specifically focus on machinery, but I don't think it's ever been established what the Mechanicus' view is. But at the same time, Mechanicus aren't generally too keen on Psychers as far as I'm aware, even to the point, like, any Psychers within the Adeptus Mechanicus tend to keep their abilities, like, you know, on the down low. It's like, oh, better not let them know I'm actually a psychic.
Yeah, they're all just Typhus.
Because there was that audio drama, Heart of Rage, that actually featured an Adeptus Mechanicus Psyker. Like, he was a Psyker, but he kept his psychic abilities hidden. And that allowed him to actually take control of a Hive Tyrant.
Right. Oh, yeah, I feel like I remember that story now. You say it where a tech priest basically took control of a Hive Tyrant. I remember that now.
And ended up resulting in a Blood Angel literally just detonating a nuke. Saying, as he succumbed to the Black Rage. It was
Right.
like, I'm falling to the Black Rage, trying to hit the button. Boom. But that's digressing quite a lot. Yeah, I don't think it's actually been properly touched up upon, really, to be honest.
I feel like we will see it, though, in Psychic Awakening 7, with more Psychers and the AdMech taking a leading role. Okay, this question, I don't know how I feel about it. Do you feel that with the recently released chibi figures, which are, basically, if you haven't seen them, blind bag, you open it and that's what you get. I got the Grey Knight in my pull. But they're suggesting here, could Games Workshop be dipping their toe into, air quote, loot boxes, testing the water to see if their audience will like a grab bag, which could include winning an expensive model, but most will get stuff they'd never want as a way to get rid of old
go
stock.
That far. If anything, they'll just do, like, with the chibis and the Space Marine hero models, I don't think they're going to go full-blown loot boxes.
Yeah, I think it's two sides to it. One, I think these are mostly just basically Japanese influence, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
With
so
Bandai,
they basically over there, from what I understand, someone who actually knows way more than me on this can correct me. I think over there, basically like those little gachi bags, and also there's also for those exact things, little things you put coins in, turn the thing, and get a random one. We have that a lot in America as well, of just little toy stuff here and there. So this concept is not new and has been around for such a long time. And the other side, which I think the questioner was also worried about, is that the discussion of loot boxes that have been in the game industry for a while has been burned into people's mind and kind of causes like a PTSD kind of style thing of as soon as they see anything that is a container with random item in it, immediately is associated with the evil that are loot boxes. In which I don't like having random stuff like that. I want to buy directly what I want. But I also understand that fear. I don't think Games Workshop's going to start selling these things and rely on them and like, let's loot box the hell out of our customers. I don't think they're that stupid.
I don't think that's going to happen, especially considering that I think, the UK kind of ruled loot boxes as being, a form of gambling. So it's like, you can't.
Actually, yeah, they did.
So GW won't do that just purely like, we don't really want to get, the bad side of the law. Especially if you're like, it's because their stuff can be seen as being, even though it's, a lot of older people play Warhammer, it's also can be seen as being geared towards children because it's model kits and stuff like that. So,
yeah, and officially it's 12 plus, so they are targeting at an audience that is officially legally classed as minors.
Yeah.
So
they wouldn't do anything else beyond, again, the chibis or the Space Marine hero models, which is just literally just one model kind of thing.
Yeah, £5, see what you get.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've also seen people getting all mad at these as well. Just going like, "Let a dark and grilling. This is stupid." I'm like, it's not for you, man. It's like it's just a cute little thing to have. Like I like to have one, like a cute little Space Marine on my desk. Like I'm not gonna just burn someone's house down. Like, come on.
I really wanted the Skitarius. I got a Grey Knight in the end, but I really wanted the Skitarius. Yeah, fair enough. Right, more model-related question. What's your favourite 40k and or Sigma model, and what's your least favourite? The one you dislike the most?
Superlative. You guys answer first. I gotta think. I actually don't know.
Is it current or across all of time and space?
Doesn't say.
Right, okay.
Because the old models have a very, very big disadvantage, let's be fair.
Least favourite model for me... To be honest, probably that Space Wolf Rune Priest and Terminator armor. The one that's still around from Rogue Trader. That's still being sold for some godforsaken reason.
They got a lot of stock that never sold.
It just looks so goofy.
So funky. Just, it looks a little
Even by the standards of Rogue Trader models, it looks funky.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm going to stick to New Hammer for my answers. Favorite model, I think.
Can I answer my favorite model?
Oh yes, sorry, of course. Sorry, you sounded like you were done. Sorry,
no, I just mentioned least favorite. Current favorite, I probably have to say. Do you know what? I'm going to go with the Land Raider kit.
Land Raiders are pretty cool. I still have 2 of my Spatial Land Raiders, and I look at them like, I want to sell them, but at the same time, deep in my heart, I'm like, they're so cool. I don't want to get rid of them.
It's simple, but, it works. Especially when you got the Forge World doors for, like, your Legion or Chapter or whatever on them, to make it stand out a little bit more. Like, having my Night Lords, it's like, I fucking love my Land Raider. I still have a second one to assemble, actually. Because I got 2 of those Talons of the Emperor box set when they were, like, beat on clearance. I was like, might as well just get them. Just get them for the fucking Land Raiders.
That works.
So I have about 10 Custodians from those that still need assembling. And 10 Sisters of Science, 2 Rhinos, and another Contemptor. Sorry, your models then, Michael.
Favorite, probably is Marathi. I weighed up like Catacross, the Keeper of Secrets, the Eidolon. I love those models, but Marathi is the right combination of terrifying yet also simple, because there's a lot of flat surfaces. There's not a lot going on with Marathi's model. But she looks absolutely ridiculous in both forms, and I love it. Least favourite, I'm going to go with new Typhus. Because old Typhus was brilliant. New Typhus looks ridiculously derpy. And I know that there's Lucius is right there, and I don't like the Lucius model. But the Typhus model is a new miniature, and it feels just like a ginormous step backwards from what they had, which maybe biases me against it a bit more.
I'm going to disagree with you in regards to it being a step back. I actually think, for the most part, the new Typhus model is actually all right. The thing that ruins it for me is all the giant flies surrounding it. If they didn't have the flies, I think it would work a lot better.
I don't like the pose either. I just don't like the pose. It looks like it's like he's gone from this menacing stalker Grim Reaper figure to, hey, widespread stuff in the air, looking up, looking a bit derpy, yay! Completely needs a repose. Completely. It just doesn't work for me. Not because it's a bad sculpt, but just because the design and the pose just...
Funny enough, I have seen some pretty decent conversions, like people swapping the hand that's holding the scythe, and instead of holding the scythe up in the air, he's holding up like a guardsman.
Oh yeah, that works brilliantly. If you converted it out, it could look great. But in its raw form, which is all I can really go on...
Fair enough, yeah.
Then just because it's a huge step backwards. Like, the worst models are obviously some of the older ones. The Lucius model I really don't like, but that's my Slanesh bias is in full effect. But
in fairness, the Lucius model is kind of shit.
Yeah, it's just the Typhus model felt like such a step backwards when Khan was a huge advancement and Iron was a huge advancement. And then Typhus was just...
I'm still waiting for our new Fabius Bile.
Oh yeah, that's got to happen eventually.
I know some people are saying, but Lucius model came out in 3rd edition. He can fucking wait. Fabius possibly using his 2nd edition sculpt. Lucius can fucking wait. And I'll tell you who needs it more than anyone else. Ragnar Blackmane. I think he has the old... aside from that librarian in that Storm Rune Priest and Terminator armor, Ragnar's got the oldest fucking sculpt still active.
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly.
With his little baby booster shoes.
Yeah. What about you, Zoran?
My favorite one is the 40k Dreadnought. Just normal Dreadnought, not the Redemptor or anything. That is so far my favorite model. It's not special. It's nothing grandeur or anything. I just like it a lot. You just look at it and it's just a box of I'm going to punch you and kill you. It's just a nice, lovely little model. I love it to death. Because it's just classic. When I look at it, it is so definitively Warhammer 40k that it's fairly iconic to me in a way. Absolutely love
That's
it.
fair.
And the one I hate the most, which is going to be an Age of Sigmar model, I fucking hate the I hate the Sigmarines. I hate them so much. I don't fucking like them. And it's like some of their armor and stuff is cool, but I hate the helmets so much. Those helmets look fucking. I hate them. They're so stupid.
Oh,
I don't need to see a face. I want you to be a faceless badass. I don't need to have you have like a stupid expression on your face as you're going in the battle. I hate them so much. I hate that aesthetic.
Zoran,
All the time because I really what?
did you see the?
So by extension, you should hate the Commander Dante.
I was gonna
Yes.
say, did you actually see the Sig Marine conversion that Wib made? Literally, like using a Stormcast and a Space Marine to make like a hybrid model.
Did they use the Sigmarine face?
No, he's like a normal Space Marine helmet.
Yeah, like that works.
It
that I'm
actually
okay
looks
with because
really
it makes it
good.
look fun. Like basically, I think I hate the head model than anything else. Just that one fills me with rage because I fucking hate it. Because it's just so stupid.
How do you feel about the Dante
I hate
model?
that look. Say what?
How do you feel about the Dante model then?
Dante model? Let me look him up. Is it
It's old.
It's like a.
Is it
It's
40?
old.
Is it 40K or fantasy?
It's 40k
Commander Dante, Blood Angels.
from second.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I hate that too. I hate
And the
that look.
Sanguinor?
I anything that has that face, that stupid helmet face thing, I hate it because I don't like it. I don't like it in any way, shape, or form. I don't want to see a face if you're wearing a helmet. Your face should be a mystery when you're wearing a helmet. Your helmet should project like an emotion when you look at it. To where like you look at like some like
Which
knight
they
helmets
were
and stuff.
designed to
'cause-
do.
Yeah, it's
They're
like
designed to project fear. That's the whole point of them.
yeah, and the face thing does not fill me with fear. It fills me with anger that I want to kill you faster. I hate it. Like it's disgusting. It's stupid. The design is weird. And then they have some artwork of the face yelling, and it's like just one bullet. Like just imagine wearing that helmet of it's just like your mouth is perpetually open. It's like that's what it looks. I know it's not, but it's like that's just what I imagined the entire time, and I am disgusted by it. It's like it's
Fair enough.
all right. That's my rage. Just I hate that thing.
Oh, that's fair enough.
Next question.
Where was I?
Yeah, we got time for one more. Yeah.
I had one. Yep. Tell you what, let's do a lore question to finish. So, do the Thousand Sons still not know that Horus ordered the burning of Prospero? If not, why haven't they attacked the Black Legion for it?
I think at this point, like, the only reason I haven't attacked the Black Legion is kind of like, well, we're already this fucking far gone. Fuck it.
They're a bit
Yeah, I
busy.
I think during the Heresy, it was like, right,
They're currently
we
too
have been-
prideful to like go back on their knees to the Imperium saying, "We screwed up. We're sorry."
Yeah, and Magnus sort of realized that it was with Horus or bust, and then Horus died. So like, who are you getting vengeance on at that point?
Russ.
So I guess like with Horus dead, there's no one to like get revenge on. Like Abaddon wouldn't have been involved in that decision. Or they might.
And the answer's
But
simple. You go and kick the shit out of the word bearer. It's all fucking Erebus' fault.
accurate.
And also, to anyone who says Magnus did nothing wrong, he admits it in the Thousand Sons that he was wrong.
He did nothing wrong on purpose.
Doesn't mean he didn't do anything wrong.
Didn't say that.
Finally, written in the Bible confirmation that my Primarch is best.
No, yours is an idiot.
Oh,
Yeah,
I know.
Liam Russ is an
Liam Russ
idiot.
is a stupid cunt. Like, it's just makes no sense.
Russ had a chance to end the heresy and he fucking failed miserably.
There's a
Literally, he had to turn his wrist 90 degrees and
Yeah.
he'd have won the heresy.
It's dumb. It's like, let's just go charge up and just go charge Horus for no reason. This is just
Causing
idiot.
Dawn to flip a table in anger.
Yeah, this is stupid. Like, don't worry. It's like, I don't have any rose-tinted glasses of this guy. It's just, Jesus, dude. Like, you gotta know. You're an idiot.
So to surmise, Magnus did everything wrong, and Russ is a fucking moron.
Yep, we're all idiots down here.
They all float in the pool of idiocy. So, on that note, that brings us to the end of this episode of Adeptus Podcastus. So, thank you very much to Zoran for joining us this episode.
Thank you. Sorry for ruining your episode today.
Not at all. It's been a pleasure.
I mean, it's not like you started going on a rant about Ian Watson or anything.
I went
as
into a
you
rant
wanted him
about
to.
the stupid face helmets.
To be fair, it's been a while since we've had a proper rant, so it's kind of nice to have one now and then.
It makes you feel more comfortable, loosens you up for the continual garbage to come.
Exactly.
Yeah, you started a fire in the comments because it's just, right, bring on the Stormcast haters again, and also you've started a massive debate on how you play the game, which is great. I'm looking forward to the comments.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So Remleiz
I'm looking
would
forward
hit-
to the arguments in the comments now.
Yeah, whenever he gets like a 60% dislike ratio on his video, he'll just look at me and say, "You're never coming back on." I go, "That's fair."
To be honest, I can imagine most of the comment section is just going to be Lehman Russ, you furry fuck.
That's one of the most memes that made me want to quit 40K because they spammed it nonstop.
But to be fair, your name on the show will invite so many viewers that Roman will get back on here immediately. So it's
like,
dislike ratio is still engagement. Bear CPMs, thank you.
I'm not leaving Russ, darn it. I'm me.
So, politely ask, lay off on the Lehman Russ comments, but feel free to enter the whole bunch of ooh comments, because I'm sure Zoran will love those.
I will kill you, do you understand me?
So, until next...
But no, it's fun and hilarious to do that. It's my bad.
No worries. So, until next time, this has been Remleiz from 40K Theories.
This has been Tactica Imperialis.
And this has been ZoranTheBear.
And we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.